This is Morning Motivation for Educators on the B Podcast Network. Learn about all the shows at bpodcastnetwork.com. You'll hear from a variety of formal and informal educators who help put this podcast together. If you'd like to contribute your voice to the show, please go to morningmotivationedu.com to apply. I am Karen Dudek-Brannan. I was a school SLP for 14 years where I specialized in language literacy and executive functioning and also held various teaching, leadership, and research roles. Now, I am the host of the Facto Leaders Podcast on the B Podcast Network, where I help school therapists, teachers, and administrators be leaders on their school teams, no matter their job title. In education, it seems like we're constantly asked to defend what we're doing, whether it comes to decisions about the curriculum, how classrooms are managed, how discipline policies are handled, as well as the recommendations that we make for parents outside of school. It is the school's responsibility to provide a robust curriculum and support for kids, but there is a robust body of evidence that shows that what happens outside of school is just as important as what happens in school. So really, this can be a shared partnership between parents and schools. So when we're challenged on certain things that we're recommending, sometimes it can be difficult to understand how to respond to those things. And one of the things that I have found can be really helpful for confidence is knowing why we make the recommendations we do. And when we are very clear on what we know, that can make it a lot easier to deal with some of those challenging situations that come up when we're questioned about our recommendations. And sometimes saying things like, well, this is always the way that we've done it around here, just isn't that compelling. Today, I wanted to talk about a common recommendation, which is that kids should be reading for 20 minutes a day outside of school. I actually have done research on this, and I had a hard time nailing down a specific study that proved that this is the ideal amount of reading. But here's the rationale behind it. First, this length of time will ensure that kids get a significant amount of exposure to robust vocabulary words, which is really important, which has been shown to impact academic as well as life outcomes. A couple of sources that I found cited the number of words you'd be exposed to each year based on the 20 minutes a day formula, and it was over 1 million. So that can have a huge impact on a child's ability to develop and benefit from their academic experience. I couldn't find a study that pinpointed the exact length of time, although there is a large body of evidence that shows the impact of reading on language. So we definitely know that reading regularly is beneficial. Second, giving a specific length of time makes things clear, actionable, and specific for parents. Telling people to read a book with your child for 20 minutes is a lot more specific than saying read with your child for an unspecified amount of time. If instructions are vague, follow-through is poor, and we want to make sure that we give parents instructions that are easy to follow. Otherwise, we run the risk of them not doing anything, and that makes things more challenging for everyone. Third, 20 minutes is a manageable amount of time. Is it better to read for an hour? Possibly, but is it realistic for many families? Not likely. So consistency trumps perfection here. We may not know exactly what the ideal number of minutes required for each individual kid is, but we know that if we give them a clear guideline they can stick with, it's going to benefit kids. Now, I have seen a counter argument to this, which is the claim that asking a struggling reader to sit down with a book is torture and will make them hate reading. But there is a robust body of evidence that shows the exact opposite. And if you're more confident with something, you're more likely to do it, and you're more likely to enjoy it. So many times, the best thing you can do for a struggling reader is to give them the skills that they need to feel confident in that skill. So if you are looking for a way to facilitate that home-school connection, this is a solid strategy that you can utilize. And if people want to know why you're recommending this, I've just given you 3 reasons why this is something that can be beneficial. Now, if you've been making some recommendations and you've been getting pushback from people, one of the things that I recommend doing is doing some research. Get clear on why you're recommending that, because then that's going to help you navigate those situations more effectively so that you can show up confident. If you want more information about reading specifically and how you can support kids' language and literacy skills, check out my blog at drkarenspeech.com/blog. Thanks for listening, and whatever role you have in education, we have a podcast for you at bpodcastnetwork.com. Who among your friends and colleagues needs to hear this message today? Please share it with them right now.